How you doing, guys? Welcome back to Coffee and Juice. So if it's your first time tuning in, I am a nomadic traveler that lives in Thailand for half the year, and then the other half of the year, I live out of this van that I'm about to show you today. I've been living in vehicles for the last 2 decades. This is my third iteration of basically customizing a van contingent on whatever my situation is for that period in time. So it's a little bit of overland, it's a little bit of tiny home, a little bit of office, a little bit of daily driver. So what I'm also going to do that's a little faux pas in the van community, especially when you watch videos such as this, is that nobody really tells you what things cost, and they kind of leave you in the dark. But when it comes to my channel, I'm extremely transparent about everything, and I'm going to let you know exactly how much everything costs. So stick around, I'm going to break it down, and I hope you like my van. So now when it comes to the front cab, what I thought was noteworthy for you guys is that obviously the chassis, which is an all-wheel drive 2023 Sprinter 144 wheelbase, gray in color, it comes with the leather seats. And once again, if you're a, aficionado of vans, you know that the Shieldmans, usually are the ones that are like the prized possession in the van world. But just keep in mind the Shieldman seat is about $3,500 each. And once again, I'm not including installation. So once again, I'm a big money guy. It doesn't matter if we're talking about Southeast Asia. The fact of the matter is that these things cost money. So with the chassis, like I said, the leather seats come. So now what you're going to see on the floor is that we have Inhabit design work mats, which once again, I have the accessory pack, and it really gives a nice finish to the van itself in the front. Because what happens if you ever stepped in a Sprinter is that the front cabin is very doughy when you step on it, and it collects a lot of dust. So I would highly advise this particular setup. So when it comes to accessorizing the front, we have the Inhabit mats, and we also have this little stopper here from Lost Highway, which is pretty cool. If you have someone who's shorter of stature, they could put their feet up. If not, their feet will dangle. And if you want to tuck it away, you could do that. So we have this particular step. So for the Inhabit mats, and keep in mind, I have the entry doorway mat, and I also have a mat for the furniture that I'll show you with my kitchen galley. So you're looking at around $1,200 regarding Inhabit Design Works, regarding furnishing, with these vinyl mats that they're going to have in a multitude of colors. So once again, I talk about accessorizing because a lot of times people don't realize that these things cost money, and you might want to partake or add this to your van build. You're going to order from this company. I would order everything in one shot because each time you order, it's a $50 shipping fee. It doesn't matter if you're ordering a countertop mat or anything else. So do it all in one shot. That's my recommendation there. So now when we come up here, I have something called a visor dock from Terra X Innovations or Terra X Build. So what we have here is that a lot of overlanding vehicles normally will mount into this part. Like Owl has one, and there's other companies, which is 100% fun. You can kind of burrow into the front. But when it comes to this visor dock, what you'll see is that everything, and obviously I'll give you the price of everything. So you have your phone that's mounted here. I have the GoPro setup. So what you're looking at regarding this whole setup up front, which I think is necessary, and it doesn't impede your vision. I know a lot of you are like, well, doesn't it impede? So what I'll do is that the windshield on a Sprinter is quite large and wide. So you can see perfectly fine when you have this particular setup. So when we have the step, which is down here, you could get another angle. This is going to run you $250. The visor dock plus these two that I have, the whole setup, you're looking around $350 to $400. And just to recap, the Inhabit mats are around $1,150 to $1,200. So the reason why I start in the front cabin is that just so you're aware, you're going to want to maybe do these things. See this? Look at this right here. And this might be something that you might be interested in. To the front cab is going to be a swivel seat on the passenger side, which will run you around $600. At least that's how much it cost for me. I did not do it on the driver's side. Sometimes bolt seats will swivel to kind of enhance the living space like it's a tiny home. The only thing is that I come from a law enforcement background, and actually one of the components of my teaching, instructing, training is that I will not mess with the front seat, because that needs to be, not, hindered with or messed with, because God forbid if there's an accident and the installer doesn't do the right thing, once again, there could be issues there. So I just left it to the passenger side and onto certain accessories that could be put on your van. I know I'm doing this a little bit unconventional. So if you want like a really cool trash can or trash tube, Radius Outfitter has a large and a small. What you're looking at right here is a small. No offense to the company, that if I had to do it over again, and I just don't even want to bother, you definitely have to buy the large, because this is the small that you're looking at. And I don't necessarily know what kind of clothes or what kind of trash necessarily can go in something so small. And this is a $90 bag plus shipping. Once again, I'm big on the prices. So now I have a drop down table. So this is my kitchen galley that you're looking at. So it has a nice table if you want to cook outside. So this was $400 in addition to the galley. And we can get into some, just as an aside, with the electrical, you're usually going to have a 12 volt, the USB hubs, and then you're going to have a house outlet like you see here. Okay. So this is the outside table. Once again, 400. Trash bag is going to be 90. Looking at right here now, well, once again, it's accessories. They're not really, they could be non-negotiables to you, but, once again, I just want you to keep in mind, there's, in a 144 wheelbase, and I'm not exaggerating, you could probably spend $500,000 on accessorizing soup to nuts with everything. So once again, don't let that dissuade you from getting a van, but I'm just trying to bring out what I have personally and what I decided to go with. So what we have here is a Lost Highway. It's a rear door kit. So you're going to have, MOLLE panels throughout. You also have a drop down table with 2 cup holders, MOLLE panel on this side. And what you see up top is going to be they're basically vented windows. It's a good setup, but just keep in mind, it's a little bit of a struggle to kind of push these windows, but once again, it's not the worst, and it gives you a nice cross breeze. So this is all aluminum. It's an all aluminum build. So this is what you have for the rear door kit, if that's a component that you want to throw into your van. So this rear door kit is $1,200 USD. All right. So what we're looking at here is going to be, this is about a 60-inch, I believe, pull-out slide. It's rated at 500 pounds on what could be on it. For this particular van tour, I left everything like a natural setup. I didn't necessarily go bananas on cleaning, because I wanted you to give the feel of what it is. So if you can see, you got a Yeti cooler, you got a Nanook 935, you have 2 Sitio crates. So I just wanted to place this for you guys to see, or for you to see what could be fit on your slide. So actually, I'm lying to you about an all aluminum build. This is something called 2Tech2 flooring or lawn seal. Underneath this is going to be a piece of wood, whatever your builder decides to throw into your van. So this basically, from here, you take it, you can stop it at certain points and it will lock, but then we throw it back in, you hear it click, and then you are good to go. So when I talk about accessorizing the van, if you're someone who's a camper or you want to do storage, the Sitio crates, which I'll link in the description below, is a very sturdy plastic milk crate that collapses. Now, obviously, storage is huge when you have your own van. So maybe your conditions change and you want to keep the crate, but store it somewhere. They're perfect, but they're around $60 each. So you got $120 on the crates. You got a couple of $100 on the 935 for your camera equipment, and the Yetis, which I love them. They're a bit overpriced. You got around $300 right there for the Yeti cooler. So let's move on to other accessories, and we'll get a little bit more into some of the furniture in the van. So what we're looking at here is that you put a headliner shelf in from Lost Highway. So once again, this is great. And what I got in, because this actually just came out recently, is that normally a headliner, you can see what's ever in here. But with Wonderful, the company, it's a soft good that basically folds down and you can keep everything in here. I got a couple of colognes, some cables, and then for this particular thing right here, once again, minus installation, it's around $200 for this. So once again, we're back on accessories. The headliner shelf offhand, I don't remember, but I'll overlay it on the screen when I double back in post. So now, something I don't use that much, but it gets pushed on you a little bit by builders, is going to be these covers, and I'll show them to you now. So now, when it comes to these window covers, once again, from Wonderful, they go on your windows. They provide, insulation, when it's cold, and when it's hot, it's going to, cool down your van a bit. The only dilemma for me personally, I don't use them that much. And the reason why I bring them up is that the whole set of covers are going to cost you around $900. So maybe if you're going to build out a van and you don't believe it's going to be your current situation, then maybe these aren't for you, but they are a staple in the van community. So once again, very well made. They fit very well, and they have a magnetic aspect to it that secures to your window. So once again, as another accessory, this is $900. So when it comes to your sleeping area, the way you can accessorize it if you're going to, once again, each his own, is that I went with Gorilla Dirt, which is a small company. They do a lot of pre-orders. So you basically have this blanket. I have a little bit of an artist background. I own a clothing brand as well. So everything has to look right or it kind of bothers my OCD. The pillows are from Gorilla Dirt as well. And then these are my 2 real sleeping pillows from Bed Gear, but I always keep the bed made because once again, it's a little bit of that tiny home kind of idea. So the pillows are around 50 each, and then the blanket was around 60 or 65. So once again, as we start to do the math, this is what we got regarding accessorizing your sleeping area. Now, what you're looking at right here is a trifold Roam Rest bed. And also what's important, and I'll tell you why I bring this out, this is separate, okay, a separate order from the bed. Now, why I bring that up is that the 2 flares, those little long pillows that I just showed you, they're $200 each, and the bed itself is $900. So for your bed, it's $1,100. And once again, I just went over some of the way you can accessorize it if you like. So just to sleep on the bed, you got $1,100. Let's go to this accessory in the back. So right above the bed or to the rear of your Sprinter van is going to be these handles from Lost Highway. Once again, I'll overlay the price on the screen. And nothing in life is free, so why would these be included? But they're going to charge you for these handles that help you kind of get up onto the rear of the bumper. So these I thought were very cool. And once again, aluminum. And as we have this conversation, if you notice, I'm on a bit of an angle here. Now, just as an aside, I know this is a van tour, but you should definitely get either slam stops, or there's other companies that keep these doors from doing what that just did. So that might be another accessory that you might gravitate to. So let's go back inside. So now for the fridge, I went with the Isotherm. It's a bit of the galley fridge. Has some of my nonsense in here. Barbecue sauce, very important. Little mouthwash. This has become the junk drawer. Got some plates, tape measure, and some other stuff. So, got marine latches, like so. And then when we come in, so when you're looking on this side where these paintings, these metal paintings are mounted, is you're going to have a toilet box here that houses a wrap-on toilet. So let's take a look at that really quick if you've never seen one before. What happens is that this cushion comes off. You're going to undo this latch, and you basically have where you're going to do your business. You can look out to wherever you are, if that works for you, and you could do your business. Underneath, there's also some room for storage, and it's where the mechanism electrically is going to be plugged in either here or here, and that's where you'll be able to utilize your wrap-on toilet. So when it comes to the toilet, it was definitely a non-negotiable for me. The only dilemma is that there was already an incident with the wrap-on toilet that I'll discuss with you in following videos, but it was definitely an interesting situation. So let's go to a little bit more storage, which is going to be this 48-inch storage bench that is right here. So regarding my storage for clothing, obviously I left things very raw and organic for this tour. All clean clothes are housed in here. Usually they're folded, but it wasn't that kind of day. So once again, from here, marine latches, and then we put our cushions, actually, right here. So we have our cushion right here. So now let's talk about the cushions. And like I said, everything that you see from toilet box to storage, I'm going to put up the price on the screen, as well as the Lagoon table / mount. So all in all, these are the lower region storage. Now, when we come up here, there's another storage unit that's bolted into the frame of the vehicle. So once again, it houses whatever it houses. There's some headphones, there's, some ears, some computer stuff, and once again, all aluminum. Now, some of you are very curious about the paintings, maybe. So once again, I'm going to do videos on this. When you sit with a builder, and I had the van built in California, you should get updated photos throughout the build, because sometimes, things get lost in translation. I initially wanted a black aluminum, no window, black aluminum, like you'll see on, let's see, what do we have? It's some, I'll show it to you when I see it. Black aluminum that basically covers that dead space. So since it did not have what I wanted, I had basically had to pull an audible and put these metal pictures up, which I kind of, in retrospect, I think they look really good. It gives it more of a tiny home feel, that you're not just looking at, hard metal the whole time. When we come in, the other side of the galley houses more electrical outlets that you can utilize. You got the house outlet once again, and then you have your USB and your 12 volts. So, housed within this galley, or this piece of furniture, as I call it, all aluminum, black coated, powder coated finish. And I went with a black and yellow kind of theme because Lost Highway, it seems that their brand color is going to be this yellow. So you have some storage. I keep paper towels, some linens, and also my pots down here. Once again, a lot of storage. Retail price, I'll put it on the screen. So now as we move to here, so if you're going to be building a van in the near future, a Lagoon table and table mount now comes in a black color. So obviously you see a kind of a design, there's a design language in the van where it's black, yellows, grays. Black is the way I kind of, went with the flow with the colors. So this swivels around like you've seen. This is a book I'm reading because in the near future, I'm going to be going to Cambodia and Laos. So you can read, you could put the laptop on here, and it's a nice setup in regards to that. The only thing I want to do is, as an aside, because I'm going to get to this in a little bit. As you look around my van, you're probably saying to yourself, wait a minute. This guy does not have a subfloor or a floor, and it looks like he has no ceiling or no walls. We're going to get into it. Let me just discuss the furniture. What you're looking at right here, if you're going to build a van, possibly could become your new best friend. So I do not have an air conditioning unit in this particular van, and I'll explain to you why in a little bit. But this Sirocco fan has a very little draw, and it's huge regarding kind of ventilating and cooling this space. Remember, this van is not insulated. It only has a brace kit on it. So very, very important. So now a lot of times when people build out a kitchen in a van, they call it the golden triangle. But with the way I thought about ventilating this van, is that we have a max air fan, which is right here. We have the Sirocco fan. We have an Arctic turn window, an awning style. Once again, they have a flat one out now. I probably would recommend a newer one, even though this one is great. So the thing is, when you also look up, you have the Arctic turn electric skylight. So now what happens is when I sleep, you have the vented area that I showed you prior for the cross breeze. You have Arctic turn, you have Sirocco fan, you have the exhaust fan, however you want to utilize it, in or out, the air coming in. So, and also the skylight, you boost it up all the way, you put the vent, you can have it like this, or you could basically black it out completely. The only time, just off the cuff, the only time I recommend a air conditioner, either a Cruising Comfort, a Dometic on top, is going to be if the climate of where you live, the temperature really never drops. It's always hot. So it'd be very, very hard to cool the van. But what I have instead of a traditional unit is I have an EcoFlow Wave number 2, which is in my storage unit currently. But that, if it's an extreme situation, I have that for cooling it or heating it. So once again, I'm also going to list that price as an accessory along with this 5-point ventilation system that I just brought out. So what we're going to look at right now is that we have 2 tall fender boxes that basically create the bed platform. And what's housed in one side is going to be the EcoFlow Independence kit. And I picked the middle of the road kit because once again, I'm only a 5 to 6 month guy in the region, and I didn't want to go bananas with a power setup, which is pretty much going to cost you the most when you put down your money on a van build. So in this tall fender box is going to be the EcoFlow. It has storage up top that I'll probably show you later. So now in this side normally would house where you would put your water supply. So what I decided upon is not to put water in the van. I wanted to see what my lifestyle would be here in America. Would I really need it, or can I just bring, water with me? Remember, I live in New York City. It's not like I'm going into Afghanistan with the van where things, I'm going to be completely off grid. So remember, the inspiration is that this is a daily driver along with kind of my office a little bit and where I could lay my head down for at least 5 to 6 months. So this is storage currently at the moment. And these are the tall fender boxes, once again, in aluminum black. And like I said, I'll put the prices up on the screen. So allegedly at Lost Highway, this type of van is the first that they've done with no walls, no ceiling, and it's a little bit of a, one of one. So the brace kit cost around, I think, $1,200. Once again, I'll put up all the prices. But what you're looking at right here, this is a flare or a bump out. It's basically rhino lined. Now, keep in mind, it did not come this way. That's why I always recommend getting pictures and going to see the van in person before you either have it shipped to you, because to rhino line, this was initially white. I think I have pictures somewhere. I'll overlay it. This, I had a rhino line, and that side I had a rhino line for around $500 because you see the schematic in here regarding the colors. Just imagine if this was just a white fiberglass. I thought it looked terrible. And once again, it just bothered my eye. So I had to spray this. So once again, if we start to accessorize or add on, this was an issue. So it had to get painted. So let's take a step outside, and I'm going to highlight some of the things that I have on the outside. So right here, you got your Shure Power plug-in. Once again, I wasn't going to go with this, but thankfully I did, because one of my regrets with building this van, and I'll get into it maybe on a full one on another day, is I should have threw at least 2 to 3 solar panels up on the roof. So now that is my segue to let you know what's on top of the roof. So let's talk about it. Up on the roof, I went with a Starlink. And a little bit of a fun fact about that is that some builders, if they don't know, or I don't know, if maybe they don't care, you could buy one that's around $2,600 plus the mount. But there's also another one that you could buy that's $600, is the one that I went with, that is mounted on this roof. And then once again, up on the roof, we have the Arctic Turn skylight along with the Max air fan. So once again, down the road, 2.0, we're probably going to throw some solar up there. And I think that'll be beneficial to the van in general. When it comes to more storage, like I said, this is a tri-fold bed. And, these tall fender boxes also give you the ability to store things. So, once again, raw video. All my bedding goes in here. Once again, very deep on the storage. So you got this, marine latches, and put it back together. Basically looks like this. And like that. So when we go to the other side, because obviously I do some cooking in here, is going to be, we flip this one up just for, showcasing the van. We got 1, 2. So we got a coffee maker, which is still in the box. We got an induction cooktop, double burner, and we got a Zoji Rushi rice cooker. Got it on sale, which is rare. So you're looking at a replacement grill that is black. This is around $200 and maybe $50. I'll put the correct price on the screen. So now you're looking at this topo wrap, which once again, I have to give credit to Outside Van because I basically ripped their design. Okay. So Outside Van does something very similar, but their house color is like a burnt orange or a red. So I basically wrapped it out. We did the lower plastics here. And then when we go to the back, you'll notice that I also did a little topographic mark here with the yellow stripe. So to wrap these particular places that I indicated to you was around $1,500. Okay. So now if we go around to this side, if we talk about wraps, this is included in the price of your 2 flares. You have a black matte wrap on this side. Now, offhand, once again, I'll, in post-production, I'll get everything right for you. You have around $3,500 just to put the bump outs on that give you the ability to sleep sideways in the van. All right. So that's the topo, etc. So let's look at, it might seem like a minor thing to you guys, but, I talk about money quite often. So now to tint this window, they count them as 2 big ones. The front windshield, be guided by your own state. These are also tinted, my headlights. So it was $670 just for the tint job. It's not ceramic, it's regular. So that's a price point for you going forward. So also another addition is going to be these step-ups right here from American Backroad Company. It wasn't my initial choice, and once again, I go back to just advising you on who you build with, that sometimes they may throw a product at you because they have a deal with that particular company. And remember, the onset or the influx of how many van builders there are now, you would have to say to yourself, there must be money in it. So there was probably some deal worked out. The reason why I don't like them, even though they are very streamlined to the van, is that I'm about a 12 foot. So if you notice, my foot has a hard time getting on. The other ones that I wanted, I'll put the name up on the screen, I can't remember offhand, kind of came out a bit and it made it easier, especially when you're descending. See, like, I can't get my whole foot. And once again, I'm not the youngest guy anymore. You can maybe blow your knee out. So something to consider, okay, going forward. Just have that communication with your builder. So another thing that was added to the build list was the Arsenal Black Rhino wheels. There were 5 in total, and I also added the Nito grapplers. So initially, I'll show you pictures of the van before it was built out. It actually came with some really nice wheels. I actually prefer those wheels, the black stainless, powder coated from Mercedes. But I went with this particular setup and the Terrawagon Mondo guards along with the flares. So once again, I'll put all the prices up on the screen. So once again, when you delineate on how you're going to build, it's the exterior, it's the interior, the front cabin, and we'll also get to the roof. Speaking of Terra Wagon, this normally will come in a silver, but it hurt my eye a little bit, so I went with the black, all black slider. So you got the wheels, the rims, you got the black slider, the Mondo guards, the fender flares. So once again, all this cost a bit of money. Now, if we go all the way on the top, we got the Fiamma awning that I'll probably never use, but I was advised if you're going to be out, you're going to be out in the mix, you're going to need an awning, and I tend to agree. I went with the manual awning, and I'll put the price up on the screen. Usually the debate with the manual, versus electric is that once again, you got to drill a hole into your car. It's only really a $300 more price bump, but a lot of builders say, you know what, you're better off going with the manual. So, each his own, whatever you're going to do, but this is the Fiamma F80S. I'm itemizing this on how much things are going to cost. So initially I told you I put 5 new rims, 5 new tires on the build, but also you have to have a tire holder or a tire rack. This will obviously cost money. Normally people go with the owl that has the step in it, but the problem is that if you're going to have that, you would have to be some sort of limber individual, because what they're trying to do is marry the ladder and the holder together to maybe save you some money or etc., as opposed to a side ladder. So in my opinion, you would have to be a very athletic human to basically take that high step, then up on the tire, then up on the roof. So I went with this kind of slimline setup from Flatline Van Company. So as we close out the video, the last 2 prongs that we're going to hit is I'm going to explain a little bit about the inspiration or why there is no walls, no floors, etc., within this van. So once again, I've been doing this a long time, and I'm a guy who's into mathematics. So now if you look at the bottom of my floor in a 144 wheelbase, I'll even try to measure it out for you guys. There's really not much of a visible floor. And then also I implemented or included the Inhabit design mats, and also you could do a runner. So for me to put in a subfloor insulation, once again, would cost me more money. And how necessary really is it? Now, if we go to the roof of the vehicle, there's a certain roof that I really wanted. I mean, I thought it was beautiful. The only problem is that a topographic map roof at a place called Gone Mobile Vans with this guy, Brandon. He's a good dude, but it's $15,000 for the roof. And then also when you do the walls with the insulation. So the long short of it is that I saved around $20,000 to $25,000 regarding deselecting the normal idea of insulating a van. And, I can already hear in the comments section, the IR rating and how hot this van is going to be. The dilemma is that if you have insulation, I don't care what kind of insulation it is, this van is going to cook and this van is going to get cold. So the thing is that if it gets cold, you throw a blanket. I got the EcoFlow, and like many years at home, you have a diesel heater, you have a cruising comfort underneath the, whatever you have. So my thing is that I only live out of this for 5 to 6 months out of the year. So I had to be a little bit of, I wouldn't want to say frugal, but budget minded when I built out the van. So that's, just so you understand the mindset behind the build. It's not that I wanted to be unique. It just happened to end up that this is a little bit of an unconventional build. So now when it comes to what everything cost, I'm going to try to map it out like this. So what I'm hoping is that this doesn't affect my resell if I try to flip this van and do something else, maybe a 170 extended, whatever. So on the East Coast, to buy a 2500 Sprinter is going to be cheaper than if you're in California, Oregon, where van life is very, very popular. So I was able to secure this van for $67,000. You throw on the 7 for tax. So the van or the chassis itself is $75,000. The build list, as I try to itemize it for you, I pretty much gave you everything, but I didn't want to bore you, to be honest. So it was $145,000 when we marry the chassis and the build list. And another thing you have to include, and this is something you got to think about. I'm in New York. I shipped the car to California. That was $2,200. I shipped it back for $2,500. So you got 5 G's in shipping, and then with all these accessories that I talk about with you guys regarding, cookware, you want to get Snow Peak green forks. You want all these things because they're cool. They could be very durable products. So what I'm going to slate the van at, we talk about, how much did this van cost you? It's around 155,000 US dollars for this van that I just toured today. And once again, consider subscribing to the channel. If the stuff that I do to, with a van life doesn't necessarily speak to you, I'm in Southeast Asia. I go to Vietnam, the Philippines, Thailand. So, it's my journey today, but maybe it'll be your journey tomorrow. So just consider subscribing. I would truly appreciate it. And I want you to have a great and most importantly, a safe day. Thanks.